So welcome to Sustainability Connect on Icon Radio. I'm your host, Wanjira Maganjo, and this is a bit different because we are doing Tuesday Brain. But I'm super glad that today our conversation is revolving around sustainable packaging. And I am glad that even as we continue this conversation, I'm joined here by a great gentleman. He's going to introduce himself and tell us who he is and why he's here. So, karibu sana to the show. Introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. My name is Preantana. I have been in the sustainable waste management field for the last about 10 years. I founded Kepro in, last decade, I guess. And it's been a very interesting journey for us in the last 10 years. We started off by fighting government and getting divided and conquered. And that's when we, on an interesting trip to Denmark, through DI, Danish Industries, who's been here sponsoring the event, I was in a very interesting meeting with the Minister of Environment for EU. And he told us something very interesting. He said, the problem with Kenya is that government is dividing and conquering you. Even though we work through various associations like the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, he said, you guys need to come together as one big giant voice and put your asks on the table. And so we came back with the then chairman of Kenya Association of Manufacturers, Moshai Kinua, and we decided to form what is now Kepro. And that's where we came together as producers, as one voice, not various producers, various BMOs, and we collaboratively worked with all the stakeholders, not confrontationally but collaboratively to put together what we have today, which is a legislation which we're waiting to be signed off on, called EPR, and the Sustainable Waste Management Act, which is now signed off on. So we're happy that the act is signed off on, but we're waiting for the regulations to be signed off, because that is now what is going to put Kenya on the map. And trust me, everybody in Africa, in fact, I can tell you that with the conferences and the conversations I've had globally, people are watching us. And they're waiting to see what we're going to do. And the only thing that is waiting to unleash Kenya is this regulation. And that's all we need. So once we get that, we then have the powers as PROs with government collaboratively to now start putting waste management behind us. Right now, it's a problem. We're looking for it to become a solution towards trash to cash. And that's what we're looking to drive ourselves towards.
So glad that you're one of the founders, because now we understand why we are here for this particular conference. So do you feel like this is a right step towards more collaboration, more partnership, instead of divide and conquer?
Absolutely. I think it's events like this, conversations like this, that bring us together as a community, as stakeholders, to voice our concerns, voice what we need to do for Kenya as a win-win. And like we heard today, to tell the rest of the region and the continent where we need to go collaboratively, like I keep saying. And I think people are waiting to follow us. I'm working with projects in Uganda. I've worked with projects and conversations in other parts of the world. And like I said, people are looking to follow us. And they're really waiting for us to, get on the map. Not as a on the fence, but as a here Kenya is on the go. And I think we have an opportunity to show true leadership from the top to the informal waste picker, who is really the enabler for the top. And we talked about that today quite a bit, that it's the bottom that's going to enable the top. And that's what we're waiting for, right? So, yeah.
What are the future trends that we hope to see the next 1 year?
Well, I think, with or without the regulations, we're moving ahead. We're not going to wait for politics and sign off. As you've seen today, we are going to launch Kenya and put us on the map. Today is just an example of what we have been doing for the last couple of years. What to expect in the next year is more empowerment of the economy, enabling the environment to move towards the right, ecosystem to move us in the right direction, and it's all about using the right conversation to enable a transformation that we very much need in this country. And it sounds complex, but when we break it down, it's not. It's really about enabling the consumer, being us as citizens, to do the responsible thing, which is take our waste, put it in the right bin, allow somebody to collect it, and make money out of it. Because our trash is a valuable resource. And this is what the rest of the world is doing. If we follow the German economy is an example where 1% of the GDP, 900,000 jobs, the equivalent population of Kenya, 900,000 jobs, we can convert into formalized, dignified jobs where we can talk about transforming an economy from a trash economy to an economy where, waste becomes a converted resource and not going into our oceans and into our environment, polluting it. I was in the coast the other day, and we're in the season where the tides are bringing the seaweed into the coast, into our coast. And I was amazed that I saw more plastic pollution on our beaches than the amount of seaweed that was on the beaches. And the beach boys were telling me that there are not enough of us to clean up this seaweed to keep the tourists coming. And there were no tourists on the beach. Is that the world we want, where we have more plastic pollution coming in? I asked him, I said, is this plastic pollution coming from our neighboring countries and our own country? He said, no, it's coming from across the ocean, from Asia and those parts, from the Indian Ocean. And I picked up the trash, plastic waste. And then when I looked at it, I couldn't recognize it, which only proved his point. We have a global problem, but we have a solution. We know what needs to be done. We're talking about it. We need to take our voice and convert it into an actionable transformation, and we see the results in other countries. Let's look at Europe. Let's look at the developed countries, and let's take a leaf from their page, but convert it into a solution that works for us in Kenya. And that's all we need to do. We need to just action what we know. We need to be enabled by the government. We need to be empowered and work through the communities, because without the CBOs and the informal waste pickers, we cannot do what we've talked about. Huge. And the amount of poverty. Why do we need people walking through dump sites? Why can't we convert those into dignified jobs, formal jobs? Yes, the informal sector is there, but let's formalize their jobs and give them jobs where they can, take that trash and convert it into cash. And that's what we're talking about. Trash to cash. That's the economy we want to see.
Absolutely, and I feel like I could clap right now for you, because what you just said is what we really need to be focusing on. Just like you just gave the example for Germany, it's an amazing, just 900,000. That conversion rate is amazing.
And the other example I give is Belgium. Today in Kenya, we say that 9% of our plastics are recycled. You go to a country like Germany, it approaches 50-60%. You use the same principles we're talking about legislating today. In a country like Belgium, 97%. They are looking to import trash to keep their recycling businesses going. Why? Why can't we do that in Africa? Why can't we do that in East Africa? Why can't we do that in Kenya? That's why we're here as Kepro. That's why we're here to just change that story and hopefully make it a reality. And I promise you, the journey can be done within less than 5 years. All it requires is us as a collective Kenya. Forget about the rest of the world. We have the resources, we have the government, we have the people to do this ourselves. We don't need technology. We don't. All we need is to start laying the path in the right direction. Yes, we need legislation. And it has to be a collective, collaborative approach to get us there. That's all we need.
You know what? I need you to come to my show. We need to amplify this because it's doable. And people are ready, people are willing. They just need to know where to be pointed at, how to get incentives out of it, and how to be more innovative about it. Like you said, it's not all about technology. It's about coming together and having a common goal to achieve a circular economy. That's amazing. So thank you so much.
Very well.
I'm gonna let you go, but before I let you go, what's your key takeaway from this event? Because I know that we are now just heading into the award ceremony, but why do you feel the need to now start awarding innovators and people who have just great ideas that you feel that can work in the circular economy?
I think the key takeaway for me today is, it's what we've talked about severally. There's a way forward. We need to, yes, continue talking about it, to create the awareness, to create the inspiration, to create the conversation, to create the collaboration. But we need to then transform that into a conversion. And that is what I think today has inspired me to say, we have the means, we have the technology, we have the resources on the ground, we have the waste. It's in our land. We need to take that waste in our land, put it back in our hand, and then convert that into cash and empower. I think 90% of the people who came here today were those that were just waiting to be inspired, right? It wasn't the organizations and the NGOs. It was the CBOs, the waste pickers. I talked to so many of them today, and all they want is the opportunity. They're waiting. Let's stop opportunizing and start capitalizing. That's what we gotta do. That's what I want to see in the next year. When I talk to you, I want to start seeing the transformation and steps forward. All right? That's it.
Wow, you are an amazing. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much for just being on the show. We're really happy that you came on, and we are really happy that you've given us a backstory of where Kepro started. We didn't know you guys were just about to, you were more not collaborating initially until you realized you needed to collaborate with the government.
We have to stop the divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Kenya's all about that. Gen Z, we need to do what Gen Z is doing today. Let's educate. Let's make you aware.
Yeah.
So that we can start taking the right action towards a collaborative, better Kenya. That's all we want to do.
Wow.
Throw the politics aside. Let's start preventing pollution. That's all we got to do.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Very well.
And I look forward to hosting you on the radio show. So thank you for coming.
Very well.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
That wasn't so hard. We're gonna take a